Hi, this is Sudhin Bhartia and welcome to TFR Insights. And today we have with us George Crump, CMO of StorONE. George, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, first of all, tell us a bit about StorONE. What do you guys do and what is the story of the name?
Yes, well, so the name comes from the fact that we believe we've created a single enterprise storage platform that provides all the different and fulfills all the different use cases and services from a storage infrastructure perspective that the typical enterprise will need. And so that also kind of ties into what we do in that we're a software-based solution. We'll run on a wide variety of hardware platforms, and then we provide complete storage services. So that means file, block, and object across iSCSI, Fiber, NFS, SMB, or S3. And we cover a wide range of performance. We have systems that are delivering over 1 million IOPS, and then we have systems that are just for high capacity backup situations.
Can you talk about if you're leveraging any open source technology, like Ceph is there? So are you leveraging any such technologies for your solutions?
Yeah, well, I'm actually kind of glad you asked that question. So we actually do the exact opposite. Instead of leveraging open source technology and even commonly available libraries, we actually are very, very focused on creating all the code from scratch. So we've, for example, a feature of ours that we call VRAID is essentially a high performance version of erasure coding. We rewrote that from the ground up because, as probably a lot of your viewers know, erasure coding isn't always known for high performance. So we, starting from a blank slate, rewrote that from the ground up.
And what are the ideal workloads for StorONE?
We tend to range across a wide gamut. Our primary focus tends to be core data center functionality, so VMware, Hyper-V, Oracle, Microsoft SQL, things like that. But we do extend into what I would describe as the high performance computing, extreme performance use cases, so high-end analytics, things like that, as well as we have a few customers that at least initially start using us as a backup target, and we have to earn our right, if you will, to get into the primary storage use case. So, like, for example, one of our best customer success stories is a company called Scream. They make a product called ScreamDB, and it's a GPU accelerated database in the data warehousing market. And they use us to be able to deliver very, very high performance at very cost-effective pricing.
We live in a multi-cloud, hybrid cloud world. So are you tied to a particular platform or just the data centers, or your users can move wherever they want to move their data?
Today, we are primarily focused on the data center. We do have a business model option that is very similar to the cloud. It's a true subscription based offering. So it's we call it S1 as a service. And so we provide a turnkey hardware and software solution that the customer can get on a monthly, quarterly, or annualized basis. And there's no lock-in or anything like that. So it's not like a lease in disguise or anything like that. In the future, within the next 2 quarters, we'll have instances of our product running in a couple of the major cloud providers, and you'll be able to do the things you would expect to be able to do. Replicate to it for DR, replicate to it to do a cloud migration, replicate to the cloud-based S1 instance to do for bursting of workloads and things like that. So that true hybrid cloud use case set is on the map.
When we look at storage, high availability, disaster recovery, these are some of the pain points that or these are some of the core things that people are worried about. Talk about these in the context of StorONE.
Typically, people come to us for one of 3 reasons. They need to reduce the cost of storage, they need to improve performance, or they're very concerned about data protection. Data protection is usually number 2. It may start actually the conversation, but eventually price always becomes the big issue. But data protection, we have a strong suite of products. We call it the S1 Data Availability Suite. And we provide things you would expect, like high availability, so there's no single point of failure in the system. We provide asynchronous replication. But then on top of that, we do some things to make sure that data is both has a high degree of integrity and is also well protected. So for example, we can deliver very, very high performance without the need of a write cache. Most storage systems today on the market require a write cache, and they're either doing that through mirroring of RAM, which is very difficult and creates a lot of complexity, or they do it through using a MRAM or NVRAM or NVDIMMs, which is fine. The problem with that is you're generally limited in the capacity, and then also that raises the price of the system. All the performance numbers that we state are direct to media. So when we acknowledge a write back to an application, we have written that to permanent media. So we can do that without impacting performance. The other feature is what we call S1 Snap, which is our snapshotting technology. That allows for unlimited number of snapshots, unlimited number of nesting levels, and then retention for an unlimited period of time. So we literally have customers with thousands of snapshots that they use to kind of serve the point in time recovery necessity. And so that's the idea there. And then the final feature is what we call VRAID, which is that erasure coding that we rewrote for high performance. And that enables us to deliver all the benefits of erasure coding, like using mixed media, mixed capacities, but delivers multiple levels of media redundancy based on the application. It allows us to do all that, but still maintain very high performance.
So all these services or solutions that you're offering, can people get it like standalone services, or you offer it as part of it as a bundled platform?
Yeah, great question. So it's all part of a single platform. We call it the S1 Enterprise Storage Platform. And so all of these services stem out from it. And with that software, you can drive an all-flash configuration, you can drive a hybrid configuration, you could drive a NAS configuration, and then later add additional functionality, but it would be already included. And then all the data protection features I spoke about are already built into the product. So it's all essentially one SKU that we charge on a capacity basis.
I want to talk about the current crisis that we're all going through, because what is happening is we used to talk about move to the cloud, digital transformation. Suddenly it has become an urgency. And the storage is kind of at the heart of all of that. That's where you're running. It's a twofold question. Number one is what kind of trends? It's too early to say trends, but what kind of feedback you receive from your customers as they are kind of trying to have the business continuity? Number one. Number two is, once we are through this crisis, I don't know when will that happen, but whenever we are through with that, it's going to transform the way we build infrastructure today. Every component. So number one part is what kind of feedback you're receiving from the customers, what kind of concern you see, and second, how do you see this will change the storage space itself?
The number one thing that we see is a very high emphasis on affordability now. Not that people weren't price conscious before, but now it becomes a critical issue, and that's an area that we tend to excel at. The second is also simplicity. They can't afford to hire a technical person for every single use case or continue that practice. They have to have one person that can and one system that can manage all these different use cases. And so that has really actually played to our strength. We've seen an increase in both business and interest since the situation started. And I would expect that we would continue to see that to occur. As far as what changes we see in infrastructure, I think one thing that's not necessarily an infrastructural change, but the demand and requirement for what I guess I would call contactless installation. The days of a traditional storage company deploying a team of engineers on site to get everything up and running are probably over. And I think that's probably going to be a long-lasting issue. And so the need to be able to install things remotely, which requires a very easy installation process and things like that, I think that's another big change that we see.
Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to StorONE and S1, and also kind of how this crisis is changing the whole landscape. And I look forward to talk to you soon too.
All right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.